And welcome to the Allen Americans podcast. Tommy Daniels here, and very pleased to be joined alongside of one of my favorite people. And we didn't get to see enough of him last year, which is a good thing. That means he was doing his thing up in the American Hockey League. Please welcome Jacob Doty. Well, first of all, my friend, how are you?
I'm good, Tommy. How you been?
Well, you know what? It's as we were chatting before we went on. It's been a strange year. Obviously, you were here for a bit. We had a talented team here, Jacob, and I really believed that this team was on the way to something special in a long playoff run. But unfortunately, as all the guys have talked about, it just wasn't in the cards. And here we sit towards the end of June, and we're still missing hockey. I think the good news is you're seeing the NHL starting to come back and at least try to make an attempt to come back. Here's the question for you: do you think they'll get the playoffs in, or do you think with all going on in the world right now, it still might be a bit too soon?
Um, that's a tough question. I'm not sure. I think, I mean, obviously they're going to try very hard to finish the year and finish the playoffs, but the way things are going, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's going to be possible, but I know they're trying really hard. And, I've got some friends in the NHL I've talked to, and all those guys are unsure as well. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
How is the family? How's the wife in Dallas? How are the family, making it through these crazy times?
Yeah, everyone's good. Everyone's been healthy, thankfully, and we're just hanging out. Spend a lot of time together, obviously, and that's always good. And Jess and I actually just bought a house here a couple weeks ago, so um, that's exciting for us. And Dallas is good, getting big, and he's a little bit of a beast. So he's a wild man for sure. So it's been fun.
Well, maybe at the end of the year, or excuse me, at the end of the year, at the end of the call, we will get to see Dallas here again.
Yeah, definitely.
Talk about your year in the American Hockey League. Obviously, it was a different year for you. You came here to Allen in camp, or at least thought about coming here for camp, and then things turned great for you in the American Hockey League. Talk about your time in Ontario. What did you learn from your experience there this year, and what do you take that into the season?
I was in the summer, obviously signed in Allen, and Jess and I were excited to be going back. It's a great place, and got a phone call invited. I was actually going to Iowa's camp, and Ontario called, and we had a conversation. They want to bring me to camp, so I kind of switched at the last minute, and I ended up going to Ontario and sticking there out of camp, obviously. But I had a different year, as you said, and I was kind of out of the lineup most of the time. But anytime you can be back in the American League, you're going to take it, right? So that's where I wanted to be. I was happy to be able to stick there out of camp. Obviously, made a good impression, and I didn't play as much as I would like, maybe, but I'm looking to have a good summer and see what happens next year. But like I said, any time or any chance you can get to be back in the American League, you're going to take it. So it's just kind of one of those things. Just got to control what I can control what I can control. Sorry, and it was a good experience for sure.
Great opportunity, and talk about how that came about. I mean, is every player that plays at this level, wants that opportunity to play at the next level. Sometimes it's somebody that's seen you over the years, watch you play, likes your style, likes what you bring to the team. What do you think it was? How did your part in Ontario come about?
I'm not exactly sure. Like I said, I was all set to go to a camp in Iowa. They ended up signing Cody McLeod. Plays similar to me, obviously has about 700 NHL games. So when that happened, I was kind of like, oh, shoot, I thought that kind of, closed the circle around me, I thought. So when Ontario called us, they wanted me to come to camp and thought there was a good opportunity. So I kind of talked to Marty, and Marty talked to Iowa for me, and they thankfully let me out. They understood. And so then went to Ontario. They obviously wanted a physical presence, and what I bring to the game, and got into an exhibition game, preseason game, and got into a pretty good fight with a heavyweight guy, Luke Gazdick.
Oh
It
yeah.
went very well for me. And then I think that kind of won me over, I would say, for the coaching staff, and it just kind of went from there. And they were a really young team in Ontario, so I think I was the fifth oldest guy on the team at 27. So that was a different thing, but it's a very young team, and I think they liked what I brought to the table physicality wise. So I think that's what made me stick around there.
Well, and you did come back for a bit here. As a matter of fact, you're going to join us in Utah for those final games before everything shut down. And I know Marty was excited that if we, obviously playoffs happen, in which they were going to happen, he never liked to say yes to, definitively, because things can happen. But, we had a pretty comfortable lead, and I know he wanted you to be a part of that. The one thing, Jacob, and you can comment on this, is guys get labeled as being one guy. And I've heard a couple guys that played in the NHL, one being Andrew Peters, talking about he was always labeled as the guy that would just drop the bubble. I think you proved to everybody by your hat trick that you had in Tulsa, you got a good offensive game too. You can skate. If you look at your numbers when you were over in Europe, before you came to Allen, you were putting up points. So when you have that conversation with people and you want to say, hey, look, I'm here to defend my teammates and I'll do what you want me to do, but hey, don't be afraid to put me in there. I can help out on the second line, the third line, whatever, because I got a pretty good offensive game as well.
Right. Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there. I think first and foremost, my physicality is what I'm there for, and I enjoy doing that. I enjoy fighting. I enjoy sticking up for my teammates. You're never gonna have to talk me into playing that way. And that's something I take pride in and I enjoy. But I do think I have more offensive ability than maybe I'm given credit for, or maybe I've showed in the past. That year I came back from Nottingham and joined up with Allen in November. I think Marty knew I had a little more than I had maybe showed in years past, but he was all over me. You gotta be a step quicker. If you're a step quicker, you're going to be better. You're going to be better. And, I really took that to heart last summer, and I had a good summer. I think I was a step quicker, and, in those 3 games I played in Allen, I felt really good. Felt good in Ontario all year. And I'm just building off that, this summer heading into next season. I'm trying to be faster, and I think if I'm faster, I'm quicker, that'll allow me to, show more of the offensive side that I have, just by being able to be that one step quicker. And, for the people who say, you just fight or you're just there to do that, I don't think that's true. There's no one in the league, there's no one in hockey that just fights anymore. You have to be able to play. You can't take up a roster spot or a spot in the lineup if that's all you're there to do. So, I think that's a bunch of baloney to say that, but, it's just one of those things that people are going to have their opinion, but I don't really care what people think. I know what I think of myself, so that's all that matters.
Absolutely. And hey, the stats don't lie. All they have to do is go look at the stats, and you can see exactly what you get from Jacob Doty every single night. He's a guy who's going to stand up for his teammates, but he's also going to go out there and help you win. And we learned that firsthand in Allen with your time with the Americans. Well, something that fans might not know, and I knew because I saw the picture, and I think I sent it to you the other day. You set up Spencer Asachuk's one and only NHL goal. It was during a preseason game, but there it is. There's a picture of you and Asachuk hugging there along the glass. Tell me what you remember about that, because Spencer obviously has great and fond memories of scoring that one.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool picture. I don't know. I mean, maybe we can get that out there so people can see it. But yeah, Spencer and I met in St. Louis. He was there for training camp. I was there for training camp, and we played on a line for an exhibition game, and he was lucky enough to tap one in. So it was pretty cool. I think Jay Bouwmeester was the other assist along with me. So that's a pretty cool story for Spencer. yeah, so just a fun thing. Obviously Spencer and I are really good friends and have good chemistry both on and off the ice. So that was a fun night for him, I'm sure, fun night for me, and that's a cool picture to look back on.
Well, before we end this podcast, if we can get Dallas in here, I know fans would love to see him and how much he's grown just since we last saw him. And I know you've been, gracious enough to share pictures with us in the past. How old is he, by the way, now? His time flies.
He's almost 16 months. So he's getting pretty big. He's a wild man. He loves to crawl on stuff, and he's taken some pretty big fart knockers, but he's tough kid. He gets up, and so that's pretty fun. I'll peek my head out and see if he's out here and bring him in here quick.
Absolutely. This, by the way, our podcast this afternoon with Allen Americans forward Jacob Doty. As we mentioned, spent a lot of time up in the American Hockey League last year with Ontario, but was here very, very briefly and would have qualified for a playoff spot, for a roster spot in the playoff roster if he would have competed in the games in Utah, which, as we know, never happened due to COVID-19. And we do our podcast twice weekly, once on a Wednesday and then on Sunday. So if you haven't seen them, you can go to the Allen American YouTube page and you can see every single one you missed. And there is Dallas now. How are you, buddy?
I'll take my headphones out here.
What a handsome boy. How are you? Oh, we lost him for a second here. There he is.
There he goes.
How are you, buddy?
You say hi?
Can you say hi? Look at that. He's waving. Oh, good-looking kid. Good-looking kid. Now, is he, in your opinion, is he going to be a hockey player? Does he already have that making?
He's going to be big. That's for sure. He's got big hands, big feet. And, obviously I'd like him to play hockey, but he chooses to do something else. Obviously, I'm going to support that. So, but yeah, I think it'd be fun if you play hockey. He does have a few hockey sticks, whacks the ball around a little bit, but yeah, obviously whatever he chooses to do, I'm going to support, but it'd be fun if he played hockey.
Well, and I got a feeling he will. And first of all, he's got a great role model right there to look up to. And I hope we see you at some point this year. I know, again, nobody knows when things are going to start for sure. If the NHL, comes back here and starts training camp in July and they play the playoffs, it might push us back a little bit. At this point, we're still hoping for a October 16th opening against Rapid City. But, man, it's good to see you, Dodes. And I know Acid Chuck was pumped when I told him that we were chatting with you today. He said, be sure to tell my buddy hello. I'm sure all the fans that see this will be excited to see how handsome. Look at how handsome he is. Atta boy, Dallas. Thank you for joining our podcast today. Atta boy.
Got his jersey on too.
I love it. That's awesome.
He just woke up.
Again. If you can hear outside, it's been thundering in the background. I'm actually sitting in the backyard, and hopefully things will hold off here until I end this Zoom chat. But again, Joe, thanks again. Give my best to the family, including Papa Mike. I miss talking to him. Tell him I send my best to him and your mom, and hopefully we'll see you sooner than later.
All righty. Thanks, Tommy. Thanks for catching up. Take care, guys.
All right. That's Jacob Doty on the Allen Americans podcast. We'll catch up with you soon.